Queens, it is good to see you again. End it. At this very second. Disconnect from the world. Leave him alone. Stay away from him. Stop sending that message you've been mentally revising. Put the urge out of your chest by taking a deep breath. This is a time for you, not him. This is the tipping point, the beachhead where you can take back all you've lost. Because you will lose more than simply the person you're chasing after if they fail to recognize your value. That is sufficient. We need to take a step back now. Love is both a blazing light and a beautiful shadow in a relationship. Losing sight of your own light is simple when you're in someone else's orbit. Maybe if I love him more, try harder, and establish my worth louder, he'll see me at last, you tell yourself. That, however, is not love. It's ridiculous. Plus, pleading was never your calling, my darling. They had you pegged to be king. This has nothing to do with quitting. Letting go is the key. Realizing that a text message isn't the first step toward finding love is key. Take the first step. Let that sink in. Holding out hope that he'll finally change is like giving him a roadmap to your feelings every time you contact him. Wait for his response, or cling to that optimism. You're demonstrating to him the extent to which he influences you and the influence he has over your joy. However, what has he offered you in exchange? Scenarios, justifications, and pretenses cloaked in flowery language. This is sufficient. He needs to quit stroking your ego and focus on you. Quietness isn't fragile, it is strength. In a world where everyone is trying to make their voice heard, it's the most daring thing you can do. Putting an end to your messaging with him is more than just taking a step back. You're unleashing, you might. You're demonstrating to him, and to yourself more significantly, that you can find fulfillment apart from him. The most intense fires produce the most brilliant flames, and he is no longer eligible to fan your flames. He has no business determining your value. Yes, you do. Imagine this. You're taking stock of your life's realm like a queen in her castle. When peasants lose sight of their position, do queens go after them? How many? Their poised bearing of the crown allows the underserving to gracefully exit the throne room as they stand tall. It is not proper for a queen to ask for favors. Love isn't something she begs for. Her presence, self-assurance, and unwavering sense of identity are what make her demand it. You are that queen whether you know it or not. Eliminating your texting support removes a safety net for him. He's been flying carefree, secure in the knowledge that you'll be his safety net whenever he slips. However, he will now experience the absence. There will be a chill where there was once warmth, and he will hear the emptiness where your laughter once resounded. And in that stillness, he will be forced to confront his own shadow. Permit him. You are not obligated to save him. Defending yourself is your responsibility. Keep this in mind. There is no damage to you. Congratulations. You're on the rise. You have arrived at this point after suffering through many scars, tears, and restless nights. Your tears have been heard. Now is the moment to triumph. You are incredible even without his approval. You can feel worthy without his attention. Reflect upon yourself. That is your most powerful ally. When everything around you seemed to be collapsing, it was that person who fought to keep you standing. And they have been your rock through thick and thin. Your queen is that. Praise her. Make him wonder why you've suddenly stopped talking. To try to figure out what he did wrong, let him relive every recollection and interaction. You should not worry about that. He is not being punished. You are putting yourself first. It will become increasingly apparent to him as time passes that you are no longer waiting for him. He will also sense the increasing distance and change in power. The power of your stillness will outstrip that of his speech. Pretend that your heart is a garden. Your hope of seeing flowers flourish in someone else's soil has been misplaced for far too long. However, their land was never rich. Your sacrifice of love for a place that could never support it was in vain. You need to start taking care of your own garden now. Nurture your aspirations. Nurture a love for oneself. Behold your own blossoming into the woman your soul has long yearned for. Your abilities were disregarded. Now they disprove their claims. You are the protagonist, not the victim, in this narrative. Your resilience surpasses the barriers that hinder your progress. Ignorance and undervaluation aren't worth the suffering you're in. You remain standing while they have departed. People aren't necessary to make you whole. You have always had the love you've been seeking inside. This should be on your mind every time you consider sending him a text. Your value is undeniable. Winning is not his game. You are the prize he will never be able to acquire. Turn your pain into strength. Give yourself permission to be silent. Transform your suffering into strength. And remember that you deserve more whenever you feel the desire to give in. You should expect more. Taking a step back is the first step. You are not defined by them. Yes, you do. Take this opportunity to regain control of your life. Put an end to being a shadow puppet. Do not sit around hoping that someone will pick you. Make your own choice. A fire's intensity determines the intensity of its flames. More light than ever before is going to shine on you, my darling. Allow a hush to descend. You deserve the life you've always wanted, so let the anguish change you. No one is going to hold you up anymore. A new you are emerging. Now seize the crown and make it your own. Do what you can right this second to back our efforts if this touched you, if it ignited a fire inside you. Please consider giving this video a like so that it can reach another queen who may benefit from hearing its message. In addition, please consider subscribing to the channel. Here we have more than just content. It is a social group, your sanctuary where you can recover, blossom, and reassume control. All our passion and effort is going into making this for you. We are motivated to continue because of your support. Get on board with this ascent by subscribing and enabling alerts. The greatest is yet to come, my queens. This is but the start. I appreciate your presence. Gather around. First place. He puts his regrets on the canvas of your silence. When was the last occasion when you allowed another person the authority to give significance to your silence? Your emotions were like a canvas, and every time you texted or waited for his response, it was like giving him a paintbrush. The reality, though, may hurt a bit. The power to wield that brush should not be bestowed upon everyone. There is substance to your quiet. It's white. A place where, as soon as you take a step back, his remorse begins to take form. The delicate equilibrium of a relationship can be upset when one partner takes advantage of the other without offering anything substantial in return. You've been holding on to this link, haven't you? You send him text after text, hoping that one of them will spark an interest and make him realize how valuable you are. However, without acknowledgement and recognition, one's efforts are like fire extinguishing on their own. Put an end to it now. Silence is a masterpiece, and you should let it be the one that makes him recognize what he has been missing. Picture a once bustling room quivering with silence. That's the impression he gets from your lack of speech. There was a deafening silence. Your absence will reverberate more than your words ever would, even though he won't acknowledge it initially. Every missed SMS and unsent message add a brushstroke of regret to that masterpiece. To comprehend how someone he believed he had complete control over escaped his grasp, he will mentally relive certain occasions to pinpoint when everything changed. When it comes to you, silence is more than just a weapon. It's the ultimate weapon of power, as Charles de Gaulle put it. That's freedom. Your failure to provide him with the gratification of your attention becomes apparent the moment you cease messaging him. By releasing his pretense, you're allowing him to confront reality. He felt at ease but uncommitted. He took, but he spared none of it. As the stillness deepens, he is starting to feel the full force of your value. Imagine this. As a writer, he is attempting to fill in the blanks of a blank page with the events that transpired. In the same way that your quiet compels him to face his own flaws, the page's emptiness mocks him. When you take a step back, that's the result. You have stopped informing him about your affection. You're exposing him to the absence. Also, queens, nothing is more truthful than a void. Here is when your power really shows. You are not weak or afraid if you remain silent. It signifies that you have decided to separate yourself from things that no longer benefit you. If someone refuses to look at a work of art you created, it's because you gave up attempting to make them appreciate it. You're not trying to win over anybody. Reclaiming your time, energy, and peace is what you're doing. Indeed, it is painful. No need to act like it doesn't. Growth, though, is the point of suffering. Your tears have been heard. It's time to go now. Becoming the person you were destined to be is the next logical step. Refraining from texting him and maintaining your quiet are constant reminders that you are more than just a convenience to him and to yourself. Whoa, you're powerful. So ladies and gentlemen, allow him to sit quietly. Allow him to sense the void left by your silence, your enthusiasm, and your affection. Because it is in that stillness that he will meet his own reflection. And perhaps if he looks hard enough, he'll notice the flaws in himself, the aspects that were never deserved of you. Get up off the ground, take back your paintbrush, and create the life you deserve on your own terms. Help me say this. I shall not squander the strength that comes from my quiet. Allow that affirmation to sink into your soul. Leave a remark below, Queens. To help you stay focused and on track, repeat it out to yourself. Plus, use that like button on that video to demonstrate your support if this message touches you. Further queens in need of hearing these words can be reached in this way. Join me in building a community where people may find support, encouragement, and opportunities for personal development by subscribing to the channel. We are grateful for the opportunity to accompany you on this personal trip. Gather around, the second one. You can't continue to be the rock that his ship can't break free of. Imagine this. On the beach, you're grasping the anchor that will moor his ship. As soon as he strays too far, you swiftly bring him back. You are there to steady him every time he meets a storm. However, what if the ship never docks? As you stand there burdened by the weight of his return, you can't help but wonder why you're dragging an anchor for someone who refuses to remain moored when it keeps escaping the harbor and pursuing the horizon. No one ever intended for you to be their anchor while they go free. Release it now. The ideal relationship is a partnership in which both partners provide emotional and practical support to one another. Giving and giving in the hopes that they'll stay is a real possibility, though. You convince yourself that they will see your value if you can only be patient for a bit longer. They'll pick me up. But let me tell you the reality. Staying in a harbor that someone doesn't value is impossible to force. Their apathy will remain unchanged regardless of how much you try. Get off being a lifeline for those who don't value your protection. They say you should let rid of things that don't firmly anchor you. Someone who hasn't reciprocated has been steadying you. Pay attention to yourself instead of trying to win them over or hoping they'll see your worth. Reflect upon yourself. That is your most powerful ally. Your tears have been heard. Now is the moment to triumph. Being in the company of another person does not diminish your value. Their decisions do not define you. The ability to liberate oneself rests alone with you. Suppose you had a cord and a bird. They keep pulling it back down whenever it tries to take flight. To you, that bird represents hope, joy, and independence. Which string? The one you've been clinging to all along is that one. Loosening your grip on the anchor frees you to cut the rope and soar. You should not settle for a partner that is clingy rather than someone who is willing to be by your side. You don't serve as their rock. The key to your own independence is within you. When you release him, he may experience a change, but that is no longer your problem. Turn him loose. He should be left alone to confront the seas. We are not out to get him here. The key is to set oneself free. You give him power over your happiness every time you wait for his text or try to get him to stop. That is sufficient. Reclaim your authority now. You're just fine. Anew you are emerging. Here is your chance to take back all the love and energy you've given to someone who failed to appreciate you. He was wrong about your strength. Now prove to him and to yourself that you can stand on your own 2 feet. You have an innate sense of value. Take a bow. This moment was set up by every setback. You've shed tears. You've hurt. However, maturation is upon us now. The most intense fires produce the most brilliant flames, and the presence of another person in your life does not determine the brightness of your light. You remain standing while they have departed. They were not what made you who you are. Yes, you do. This is your chance to take a step back and prioritize yourself. Their completeness is not necessary. You are sufficient in your own right. Okay, Queens, I'll confirm it for you. His anchor is not me. I serve as my own beacon. Put it down in the space provided. Say that with conviction. This is your story, and you are the hero. Let it be a constant reminder of this every time you feel the want to reach out or when you question your decision to stay back. Did they depart? Very well. Now it is constructed without constraints. Like and subscribe if you sense the flicker of truth or if this touched your heart. We're here, putting in time and effort to deliver to you these lessons that will change your life. Because you have earned the right to be powerful, together we can thrive, succeed together, step into the unknown. The third one. Now he has the opportunity, but you're not paying attention. It's been much too long since you started texting first, then waiting for responses, and now you're second-guessing yourself. Unfortunately, this is the reality. He is unworthy of your presence as you watch from the sidelines, anxiously anticipating his next move. Now that the ball is in his court, he can score, but you've stopped paying attention. You have had enough of following his rules. It's high time you stopped wasting time and started making your own decisions. In your own life, you are not an observer. You steal the show. Let that sink in. Sending him a text message is like giving him the reins every time. It's as if you were to hand him control of your feelings and let him determine when you experience happiness, uncertainty, or pain. But why should another person be able to control you to that extent? That is sufficient. Nobody needs you to prove your value if they can't see it for themselves. You are valuable and should not be treated as such. He isn't deserving of recognition if he hasn't acknowledged it yet. Imagine this. For what feels like an eternity, you're rooted at a tennis court. Waiting for him to react and play the game his way, you've been repeatedly lobbying the ball back to him. But he only holds the ball, watches you perspire, and keeps you hooked in the vain expectation that he'll return the volley. Picture yourself completely leaving the court at this point. Understood with no prior notice. You are no longer going to wait for him to serve. You're abandoning him while he stands there clutching the ball, bewildered by your disappearance. That's the strength of taking a step back. It's not about trying to be sneaky. The objective is to stop playing games completely. No one worth their salt will ever leave you hanging in a relationship. You shouldn't expect them to treat you like a fallback or a practical choice. Love doesn't care about crumbs or mediocrity. Two parties willingly and on equal footing meet in the center. Chasing someone or being the first to text is about satisfying his ego, not yours. Ignore him and let him ponder. Give him a taste of the emptiness that you leave behind. He is not being punished. It's for your own safety. If you're looking for love, you need to stop accepting less than what you deserve. He has taken a back seat now. The focus is on you. You have done enough. You have cried enough. You have hoped enough. It is time for you to unleash your power. Reflect upon yourself. That is your strongest supporter and most trusted companion. Such contemplation. That's the resilient woman who has faced and overcome adversity. That's the kind of lady who can see her value when nobody else can. You're just fine. Anew you are emerging, and now is the time for you to take back all that you have been surrendering. Your quiet might be noticed by him. To gauge whether you're still interested in him, he may begin texting you. But let me tell you the reality. Your focus is no longer a game of chance. You have changed the balance of power, and now he must face the unknown. Give him a taste. Give him the opportunity to wonder why you aren't waiting by your phone or texting. It is not your business if he is confused. It's a sign that taking a step back was the correct decision. Nobody uses you as a pawn in their game. You are the chess queen, and queens don't run after their opponents. They are supreme. They exude confidence, proudly wear their crowns, and only allow deserving individuals to approach them with love, respect, and effort. Neither your silence nor your choices require an explanation. Your decision to prioritize oneself should not be explained to anyone. Love that lasts begins with you, and when you let go of your pursuit of him, you make room in your life for someone who genuinely appreciates you. You are taking a step toward regaining your serenity with every non-text message you send and with every time you resist the need to reach out. Go through the agony, but don't stay there. You have an innate sense of value. Take a bow. Your tears have been heard. Now is the moment to triumph. Now it's his turn, but you're no longer involved. You will come to a profound realization while he stands there, clutching the ball, perplexed by what happened. He was never the reward for his validation. Yes, you are. Help me say this. Gaming has exhausted me. I select myself. Put this powerful encouragement into words, queens, and allow it to strengthen your authority. If you find this video interesting, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Our goal is to create a community where each woman can thrive, and we are committed to bringing you these lessons to help you remember your strength. Together we can thrive. We eagerly await your crown. Grasp it. In the fourth place, if you can help it, don't water a parched garden. Picture yourself standing in a garden that you have painstakingly nurtured for a long time. Watering the soil, pulling weeds, and planting flowers in the hopes that they will flourish are all things you've put your efforts into. Now, when you take stock, though, you see that nothing has grown. The ground is lifeless and uncaring. It doesn't matter that you tend to it. A chilling gust of reality slams you. You've been tending to a plant that could never grow. It's like that every time you text someone who doesn't value you. It's unjust, depressing, and draining on you. When we put in time and energy into a relationship, we tend to think that anything is possible. However, you will not be able to make a garden that stubbornly refuses to develop any better by watering it more. No one should expect you to step in and make up for his absence or lack of effort. Queens don't waste energy on unworthy soil. They sow seeds in places where they can flourish. The point is not to give up on love altogether, but to choose the correct sort of love, one that blossoms naturally without the need for continual exertion. You should be with someone who gets you, who enriches your life rather than diminishes it. It is not necessary to entice a flower to blossom. Rather, it is inherent in its nature to do so. Keep it in mind. Take a step back if he isn't maturing alongside you. Release what isn't functioning and allow yourself to quit attempting to fix it. Imagine yourself in the role of a gardener. A relationship needs water and sunshine, and you provide them with your love, attention, and care. However, all your efforts will be in vain if the ground is hard and unforgiving. With all that vitality, you may put it into bettering yourself, in your development, your joy, your serenity. Inside ourselves, we tend to the loveliest gardens. If you tend to your inner garden first, you'll find that someone is eager to join you in your growth. Like pouring water into a fissure in the ground, sending text to someone who doesn't respond is pointless. It seeps in and makes you wonder why nothing is taking root. You're left feeling empty. You, nevertheless, are not nothing. You are bursting at the seams with power, beauty, and promise. Spend money wisely. Some people just can't appreciate it. You have an innate sense of value. Take a bow. It's time to call it quits. You have sacrificed enough. You need to quit wasting water on things that won't grow and start putting your love where it will flourish. Now is the time for you to take control again, to understand that taking a step back isn't the same as failing. It is knowledge. His disinterest isn't hurting you. The protagonist of your own narrative is you. Learning to let go of people who aren't rushing toward you is the lesson of this chapter. Your abilities were disregarded. Their assumptions need to be disproved now. You are not being punished by remaining silent. Preservation is the key. Your vitality, serenity, and self-respect are being preserved. You could be wondering, what if he forgets about me when I stop texting? Listen up, queens. If someone abandons you once you stop pursuing them, it's because they were never truly yours. Love remains even when separated by great distances. When it's genuine, it becomes stronger. Plus, if it doesn't, you'll have the freedom to discover something more suitable, genuine, and worthy of the love you've been holding back. The phoenix from the ashes it formerly believed to be its home rises again. There you are. Crying over useless dirt has been enough for you. Someone who didn't merit your beauty has gotten all you've given them. Get up and move around. Reflect upon yourself. That is your most loyal companion, your best friend, and your love. That should be your first focus. Raise your own standards, and you will find that success finds you. There is more to come for you, queens. It's only the start. Put down the phone. You should quit wasting your time and effort on someone who doesn't value it. You should not let unworthy soil drain the garden of your life. Rather, it should be rich and bountiful. Now is the moment to transform your suffering into strength, your stillness into power, and your failures into stepping stones to greatness. Help me say this. If my garden doesn't produce any fruit, I will not bother watering it. Give that reality some time to settle in. Leave a comment with your answer. Share your decision with the world and declare that you are taking charge. And if this message spoke to you, If it affirmed your inner strength, then please like the video and subscribe to the channel so that we may continue to deliver your life-changing lessons. Your words have meaning, queens. Let us stand unified. Rank 5. Embrace the light. Just like a moth seeking light, he can't resist. A flame will never pursue a moth, has it ever? Without ever shifting a muscle, it only burns brightly and steadily, demanding attention. The moth, meanwhile, is utterly enchanted by the light and unable to resist its allure. Now consider your partnership. Have you ever felt like the moth rushing for something that seems out of reach, reducing the brightness of your own light, or the flame shining in your power? Put an end to the pursuit. It's about to become hot. When you put your energy into someone who hardly recognizes your value, when you text him first, you're not being the flame. You ought to be the one attracting to the light, not the other way around. All of his unreturned messages and tokens of his adoration are meant to make you think that his response determines your value. However, listen up, queens. No one can turn on your light. You reign supreme. Shine brightly, you, and when you give up pursuing, he will begin to sense the frost of your absence. When both partners in a relationship offer the same amount of warmth to the bond, the relationship flourishes. However, when you're the one who's always lighting the fuse and making the first move, you're essentially giving someone a part of your soul. So queens, remember that your light doesn't need anyone else to shine. You are you, strong, beautiful, and full of worth. Stop wasting your energy on those who fail to see that. Instead, pour your love, care, and effort into yourself, the one who deserves it the most. Walk forward with confidence. Wear your crown high, and only open your heart to those who are willing to meet you with genuine love, respect, and real effort. Let them prove they are worthy of your light, rather than you proving you're worthy of their attention. Life is too short to waste time on relationships that don't nurture your soul. Choose yourself first, always. And when you do, you'll see that the best things will come, not because you need them, but because you deserve them. Stand tall, queens. Shine like the radiant flame you are. Don't be afraid to walk alone, because your light will guide you to where you truly belong. Remember this: you are the flame, not the moth, and the world will have no choice but to look up to you.